Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me in Gasho. The wave returns to the ocean, where it came from, where it's supposed to be. Namo Amidabits, Namo Amidabits, Namo Amidabits, Namam Dats, Namam Dats, Namam Dats. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. This morning we are commemorating the lives of individuals who have passed away in the months of July and August. So this is going to be our Shostuki Hoyo for the final 2 summer months of the year. Today's Shostuki Hoyo service is going to be conducted in memory of the following individuals: Toshiko, Robert, Sandra, Robert, Satsuki, Heiichi, Atsuko, Seki, A, Toshio, Yoshifusa, Fukuo, Tetsunosuke, Katsumi, Misa, Tai, Masaji, Geraldine, Sadamu, Toshiko, Ryuichi, Tetsuya, Sadako, Tomoka, Satoru, Asano, Al, Michiko, Carl, Shia, Ichi, Kunye, Marianne, Toyukichi, Sho, Kunji, Ronald, Aizen, Nobuko, Reiko, Warren, Sadako, Hideo, Matsuhiro, Ryukichi, Colin, Betty, Sanichi, Yuki, George, Linda, Hana, Tom, Benjiro, Jo Ichiro, Ryoshin, Shigeko, Kathleen, Kaoru, Unsho, Hisa, Kazuo, Noboru, Phyllis, Kuniji, Roy, Miyano, Junko, George, Kuma, and Ewart. These are the first names of individuals who have passed away in the months of July and August that are affiliated with the Arizona Buddhist Temple. And if anybody has lost someone in these months, either in the past or recently, my sincerest condolences go out to you. And again, from the Arizona Buddhist Temple, we offer our warmest thoughts. And I know it's difficult, and especially in a time like right now where we're going through quite a lot of suffering and loss around our state and around the world as a whole. As I speak specifically to the people that have lost someone in the months of July and August, again, I'm very sorry. I have lost many people on that list as well. Many of those names are individuals that I knew very intimately, very closely, family members. And, we miss them. We miss our friends and we miss our family. And it's a fact. It's not something that's negotiable or discussable. It just is something that we all carry with us in our own way. Because, not a day really goes by that we don't think about them, that we don't recognize that there's this absence in our lives that they have left. When you talk to other people about coping with loss, you never really feel right about it, because a lot of times when you speak to people, they kind of like want to help you move on with your life, but it's not really about moving on. And because it's like the absence of these people is something that you can't really fill. And sometimes the best that you can really do is just not think about it for a period of time and maybe go on with your day, but that's only temporary. And just because you're occupied and your mind lifts about it for a little bit, it doesn't mean that that absence isn't still there and you don't feel that. I guess it just never really goes away in that sense. And that space that was once filled by the presence of another person that you love or care about is something that you'll probably carry with you. I know it's something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life, as long as I can remember all of them. I know that's sad and it's not necessarily an uplifting fact, but I think it's important to remember that for a lot of people who are missing loved ones, letting go is nearly impossible. And it's not just because it's hard and we love them, but it's because we don't really want to let go of them. I mean, why would you? I mean, when you let go or, try and move forward with your life, sometimes it feels like you're letting go a little bit, like you're forgetting about them. And obviously that's like the last thing any of us want to do. And honestly, like forgetting about somebody would be far worse than losing them in the first place in some ways. In Jodo Shinshu, we're taught that those who pass away and those who say the Buddha's name are born into the Pure Land. And we think of this as becoming a Buddha and achieving a state of enlightenment. And from this state of non-retrogression, they return to guide the rest of us, the people who are alive and the people that are still suffering with samsara and ignorance and attachment in our own living lives, so that we can follow in their footsteps and become enlightened beings in the same way. These are our loved ones that are, of course, returning back to us and helping to guide us. It's very technical, but a simple way for us to think about this is really to just understand that even in death, we are all tied together at the core in this spirit of universal oneness. And even though we can't see our loved ones anymore and cannot speak to them directly, we're still connected. We're all part of the same experience. We are, again, one with everything through the benevolence of the Buddha and the teachings of the Buddha. So there's a show that I really like that ended recently this year. It was 2019, called The Good Place. You guys have probably seen it. And The Good Place described a group of people who died and were born into the afterlife. And it's mostly about like Western philosophy and those sorts of things. But at the very end of the show, and I won't give too much away about it, their philosophy sort of changes a little bit. And one character gives an interpretation of death from a Buddhist perspective, and he says the following. He says, picture a wave in the ocean. You can see it, measure its height, the way the sunlight refracts when it passes through. It's there. You can see it. You know exactly what it is. It's a wave. And then it crashes on the shore and it's gone. But the water is still there. The wave was just a different way for the water to be for a little while. It's one conception of death for a Buddhist. The wave returns to the ocean, where it came from and where it's supposed to be. When I think about this quote and these lines, and again it's from a television show, but it reminds me that our minds tend to deal in absolutes. This is a form of our attachment, our samsara. We cling to these ideas of understanding the world in black and white concrete terms, in absolute ideas. But if we can move past this kind of dualistic thinking, it allows us to get more of a glimpse of the sense of oneness that the Buddha is talking about and the Buddha teaches. A sense of the world that isn't split into concrete terms, but is interconnected and tied together in one giant experience. I mean, our loved ones are gone, but, in another way, they're not gone. If you close your eyes, you can picture them. You can picture them exactly as they were, the way they carried themselves, the way their clothes hung around their body, the character and presence that you felt of them when they were in the room with you, that warmth. But if you open your eyes, obviously, you can't see them. You can hear their voice if you try and remember it. You can think about all the phrases that they used to use that were handed down from generation to generation, and the way they'd say it or the types of jokes they would tell. You could hear it perfectly. But, that is a voice that you're never going to hear with your ears ever again. It's a sound that unfortunately we will never hear again. And while you will never get to hear them tell you all the old truisms, and you'll never get to see them enact the same way of life that they did, it's impossible to say that in thinking of them that they are not here right now teaching us some valuable lesson about how to live a good life and how to reflect on the teachings of the Buddha in this moment, through these stories, through our memories and reflections of them. So in this sense, they're here with us right now, even if they're not here with us right now. And it's kind of like the way I think of the Pure Land. It's a place, right? But it's not a place that you can go to physically, walking there or anything like that. And you know, the beauty of all this, as sad as it is to suffer with loss, is that when we call out the Buddha's name and reflect on the lives of our loved ones this way, in times like this, the guidance is coming from somewhere, right? And you know, in the simplest sense, you could say, like, it's a memory, it's a thought, but you can think of it as the Pure Land. That is where that is coming from. And that teaching is a gift coming directly from the Buddha. And it is not just any Buddha, it is the Buddha that, you know, you knew in your previous life, that you cared about and loved, that left and has returned. And so this Buddha continues to speak with us every single day, but we have to be willing to take the time to listen and reflect in gratitude so that we can hear them. Thank you very much for listening. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namon Dubs, Namon Dubs, Namon Dubs.